That's your boy Gooch.
Nope, that's Aaron. That is the boy Keys.
Right. That's Aaron. And this is the RogueHead Huddle with Gooch and Keys with our special guest, the Mod Father, once again as we conclude this series on our way too early 53-man predictions.
Check out all the other stuff we have on RGR. Shop at the store. Buy the All Juice T-shirt in honor of Therese. Watch the film that somebody puts out 2 or 3 times a week. Chief in the North on Thursday. Live stream on Monday. Let's get to work.
So we had 4 receivers to begin with. Veach said 5 or 6. If you believe him, that would mean we have 1 or 2 spots.
Is that 3, Gooch?
Looks like Gooch thinks we're going to have 7 receivers.
I do believe that we're going to have 7.
Okay. So Gooch thinks that Veach is a liar.
I didn't call him a liar. Veach doesn't make personnel decisions for Andy. Veach can make a guess, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna be Hardman, Sky, MVS, Juju, Gordon, Justin Ross, and then number 7 is gonna be a pick'em.
I think there's only 6.
I think at this point of the roster building, this is going to come down to Dave Tobe, not as much Andy. It's going to come down to Dave Tobe.
Look, this is why. Look, you can have your top 4. We all agreed on the top 4, right. And I know who you are going to throw who you're going to wave your fist at, and it's going to be Josh Gordon. But here's the thing: Gordon is on the wrong side of 30. And the coaches are already talking him up. You're not going to get anything for a trade for Gordon. So he's either showing out right now, because, I mean, you have to remember, the dude didn't play football for a year, then he went to the Arena League or whatever like that. Like, this is really going to be the first year that he's in NFL shape. And the first year that he's probably not going to have to think about Andy's playbook.
Right.
And you don't have Mahomes and the receivers coach talking up the guys that are 5, 6, 7 on the roster in that position group if they are not going to get the most opportunities to make this team.
There's got to be a reason they re-signed him.
And the fact that Mahomes has talked them both up when they really haven't done anything. Justin, because obviously Justin, but Gordon hasn't done anything the last year and a half, but they're talking him up. Like, he's doing something, and they re-signed him. I think he's going to get, if he does get cut, it'll be the last day, and it'll be because they have to do the whole, all right, I'm going to cut you to get this guy to bring you back on the practice squad, and then bring you later.
Yeah.
That's my thought, too.
You know, I'm not going to put a whole lot of stock in them re-signing him. I mean, if this is our argument, they re-signed Derek Gore as well.
We're not talking running backs tees.
But conceptually, if your argument is they re-signed him, well, they re-signed Derek Gore as well. You know, some of these guys, Veach wants a full roster,
I mean,
so that he...
Technically, they re-signed Frank. Are we going to, we're really going to go down this water hole?
They restructured him, and now they can't get they can't get away from him now, but that's a completely different argument. Signing Gordon, to make sure that they had the receivers they need in the room, I don't think that guarantees that he stays. I do think, we're doing this, it's now June, right? A lot of this is going to be decided in August. It's going to be a matter of training camp, and it's going to be a matter of preseason games and who shows up. Because last year they talked up all kinds of players, right? We heard all kinds of things about Noah Gray and other players. And so at this point it doesn't matter. It's what we're going to see in preseason that's going to tell us, is Gordon finally in shape? Is he even close, to what we were expecting to get? And, is he head and shoulders above, um, some of these other guys that are are competing with him for the bottom of the receiver group? Because again, Gooch, I'm going to throw your arguments against Derek Gore out there. Josh Gordon is not a spring chicken, and he's older than Gore. So, um, I think part of it depends on if you believe Veach, or how special teams shapes up. Because if you look at some of the favorites right now, it's Justin Ross. Um, if you throw Josh Gordon in there, and then now there's chatter on Justin Watson, who Thunder Dan has been on for weeks now, and then Pat comes out. He's asked about him in a presser, and Pat says that when he was down in Texas and he was throwing to Justin Watson, he kept underthrowing him because Justin Watson was way faster than what he was expecting him to be, and he called up Veach and said, was basically like, "Who is this guy? How's he this fast?" And so that got.
Watson is a camp body. I love Thunder Dan, and a lot of times he is wrong. I mean,
A lot of times he's right, though.
I was getting there.
Okay.
Good grief. But if you can't stick with the champs, I don't think I even need to finish the statement.
My deal with Gordon is, what's the point? Why would you waste your time re-signing him?
Look,
And I'm already with you on Gore.
have you ever watched Flash play? Like,
Last season.
Like back in the 80s?
Here
Gordon?
look here. He has Sammy Watkins' hands. Like, when the ball gets there and he doesn't have to think, it sticks.
It wasn't last year.
Come on, man. He was still thinking about the playbook. Am I the only one? Look, I'm going to start a petition right now. Free all the bad press on Josh Gordon and bring back Bo Peep Keys.
I'm definitely not with you on Keys, but Gordon, I don't see any point in them re-signing him if he's not going to make the team.
I think there's a lot of players that they signed or re-signed that are going to get cut. It's just part of it is filling out a roster. You want to have numbers, but you also want to have competition, right? And Gordon, I mean, it's a low risk re-sign. He didn't sign for much, and if he shows, then great. If he's not one of the best 5 or 6 or 7, then you haven't lost anything by re-signing him.
You
But
got
they
to have
didn't.
more than Hardman that knows the offense too, though.
They didn't give him a contract that would suggest that he's safe, right? It's one thing to bring him back. It's another thing to pay him enough money to where you're hesitant to cut him. And we're going to get to some of these guys because I got them marked on here. There are guys on this roster that I didn't originally have making this roster until I went back and I looked at the contracts that they have and the dead money that it's going to cost if we cut them, which kind of suggests to me that maybe some of these guys are going to stay, even if I don't necessarily believe they should. Gordon isn't one of those players. But again, it comes down to, if there are 6 players, and I don't believe for a second we're keeping 5, even though Veach threw out 5 or 6. I think it's going to be 6 receivers. The question is, will it be 6 or will it be 7? And I think a lot of that depends on the defensive back group and what Spags wants and what Uncle Dave wants of those guys on his special teams is going to determine whether it's 6 wide receivers or 7. I think a lot of people have Justin Ross locked in as one of those 6 receivers. Do we all have him locked in as one of those 6 receivers?
I do.
I
And
do,
I
and
say
I think
Gooch does based on reading his lips.
I do, and I also think that we're not talking just receivers now on special teams. Ely and Pacheco can play special teams too, which is another reason to keep them on the roster and where you can add a seventh receiver. Not to mention a couple of those defensive backs that we're going to carry can play special teams, which again would subtract the need for less receivers because they don't play special teams. Like this
Right, and
team is going to be diverse. Like where we normally, because a lot of this is based on history, right? What we know Andy and them to do. But these guys that they're picking up play more than one position, which is going to make the offensive defense and special teams a little more free flowing. Insert here, take out here if tired or hurt, insert this guy, and not really hurt a position group.
And based off history, that's why I go 6.
I think it's really going to depend on what they see out of the defensive back group, because as it is now, if we add Ross, that's 5. Out of those 5, I don't see any of those guys playing special teams. I wouldn't want Ross to play special teams.
Which
Special teams is where all kinds of injuries happen, and he's already had all kinds of injuries in his
which
career.
you which you
You're
wouldn't have.
talking about him returning.
Look at Pacheco and Ely can return, and you've got what we drafted 4 corners, 3 of them 6'3" that still run like the wind and are willing tacklers. Remember the makeup of generally every single person that they picked: mentally tough, likes to tackle. You know what I'm saying? That's special team stuff. You know what I'm saying? You can carry extra defensive backs because they can play special teams.
So, how many defensive backs do you guys think that we're going to have on the team? Because right now we have 5 of them locked. We have Snead and McDuffie, and then we have Thornhill, Reed, and Cook all locked. So we're at 5 there. So how many do you think are going to be in that room?
I think it's going to be 8.
That would only leave us with 3 more, and I'm not sure that leaves you enough for special teams when you have your gunners and everything.
I think Juan, is it Brian Cook, Justin Reed, McDuffie, Snead, that's 5. And I think those other, what is it, Williams? Williams makes it, and
Watson.
huh?
Watson.
Watson. So give me 7.
And Bush.
I actually think that DiCaprio, Boodle, I think that Baker, I think that Fenton don't make this squad.
Okay.
Not because, let me go ahead before somebody on Twitterverse decides to try and attack me. Not because Fenton hasn't played well in spots.
It's better than the Twitter.
But if I'm running my defensive backfield and I've got 2 6'2" corners that run 4-4, and I know I'm gonna have to go up against Devontae and Waller and all those tall receivers that the AFC West has, I'm not going to start putting people out there that can be jumped over. I'm just not. You know what I'm saying? I'm not as naive to say what it says. Say the 3-5-5. What was it? 3
3-3-5.
3-3-5. I wouldn't say that, but if you look at the people that we're going to have to play in our division, the game is going to, you're not going to stop them from getting catches, but you're going to need bigger bodies to play keep away. Now, McDuffie plays bigger than his 5'9". You got to give him that. But Judy and Waller and Fant and all the boys from the Chargers and Devontae now, I mean, it's There's no spot for Fenton.
I think that if Fenton isn't on this team, it's because we traded him and we picked up an asset. So I don't think there is any chance that they just flat out cut him.
If
McDuffie plays bigger than 5'9" because he's 5'11".
if they don't, I'm gonna hurt you. If they don't cut him, it'll be like Sorensen all over again.
Welcome to the Gooch is wrong a lot today episode. Oh.
Insert laugh here.
You have to forgive me, guys. I'm a little off my game. I'm in northeastern Maine, and it's almost 5 a.m.
Yeah, we had to wait for me to get home from work. Can't get off early ever.
But we're here for you. This isn't about us. We're here for the Rogue Heads, for those backers that turned into RGR to hear us talk our nonsense. We appreciate all of y'all. Not about the time for me.
So Aaron, you said McDuffie is 5'11".
Yeah,
You know who else is 5'11"?
according to Google.
Rashad Fenton. Anyway,
Really?
you know,
That's where we're gonna go? Okay.
I think you had Zane Anderson last year, and they have him listed as a DB, but he played special teams and is someone that they liked. Although I just remember him for extending a drive on a very aggressive punt block attempt. So you have him, already on the roster from last year. He might make it. He's a BYU guy. Andy loves his BYU guys. You know, he seems like that Sorensen replacement as much as we don't want there to be a Sorensen replacement. So I could see him in there. And then there's Dion Bush. Now this is where I'm going to tell a Gooch where he's wrong. Dion Bush is a free agent that they brought in, and he's one of my guys that I have in red here, which indicates to me that he's someone that they're not going to cut because of financial reasons.
I
I
think
have
he
to
makes the roster.
I have to look up his contract here, because I don't have it on me, but I went through and I did this, and red means you don't cut that player. And another player on here that I have with the same color is DeAndre Baker. So Dion Bush, pull it up here. See what his dead cap number is. That's going to be the big one, right? We talked about Ronald Jones' dead cap being 750,000. And I had that kind of as a yellow, right? It hurts a little bit, but it's not completely painful. Dion Bush, if you cut him, we're paying him $1.18 million. If we cut him, 1 million of that is dead cap space right off the bat. So nearly all of his contract is dead cap. And I find it really hard to believe, especially with this little cap space that we have, that we would just throw away $1 million without cutting somebody else who's making a lot of money against the cap to kind of lessen that. Because right now we don't have a lot of cap space. So if you cut Dion Bush at 1 million and you replace him with someone who's going to be 700,000, whatever the vet minimum is, you're talking about a $1.7 million swing just to get him off your roster, because you're going to have 1 million in dead cap space, and you're going to have about 700,000 or so in his replacement, whoever that is.
I'm not worried about dead cap space if the cap space is going to go up.
It's not going up for this year, though, and that's what we're talking about. He has a 1-year contract, so all that matters is 2022, and that cap is set. Let me look up DeAndre Baker here. That's Dion Bush, who is a safety that we signed. I believe that's the one from Chicago who played mainly special teams. I think he's on this roster, and I think it's mainly to play special teams.
I'm still not wrong about the 7 defensive backs.
Oh, you will. We'll have more than 7. I think it might be 8 to 10.
Well, you can't say that because then that just squashes your previous statement where you don't know if you have room for everybody after that. When I say 8, while we're waiting on Keys, I'd like to promote that he did an episode of HGs. The very first episode of HGs with Keys on the Back Talk Bros channel. It's actually really good. I watched that one, Keys.
All right, what am I looking at?
I thought that was the same episode. Am I wrong?
As the one that, no, I think no, because he did one, wait, you did the one on Orlando Brown, right? Where we did the, because I watched that one too, and you made some really good points. I was actually kind of impressed. I'm not saying, obviously, I'm not saying I'm impressed like, oh, you do bad work. I just thought it'd be more of a rant as opposed to like a diagram, point A, point B. You know what I'm saying?
I prefer to think you were saying the first way. But yeah, I've got Reed, Thornhill, Cook, Bush, Snead, McDuffie, Williams, and Watson.
So I got 2 different things here. Over the cap shows all of Baker's money being dead money if we cut him. That's 965,000, so almost a million. So again, cutting both of these guys is going to put you about 1.7 million, behind.
Here's the thing though, Keys.
But Spot Track doesn't show it as guaranteed, so I'm not sure what the difference is there.
Here's the thing though, Keys. If it's just $1 million and it's just this year, and we've got 16 million in cap space, which will be more if Orlando gets a long-term deal. Not in the range that we're hoping, but I mean, you don't think they're not going to walk away from $1 million? I mean, if you want me to go back, well, there's the potential OBJ signing too.
Do you want that?
Do I want OBJ?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it'll be a new member to the Dash crew.
And then, is that where Gordon gets cut?
If we wait it out, let's say Hardman, MVS, Juju, and Sky, right? Is OBJ better than the next 4? I personally think he is.
Is he worth the headache? Possible headache.
Is he going to be a headache? Because he wasn't in LA.
Right.
And everybody said he was in Cleveland. The problem is I don't think he was the problem in Cleveland. I think his star power was the problem in Cleveland.
I don't think you were. I'm going to say this. I'm not against that signing. One, you saw a noticeable difference in the Rams offense in the Super Bowl when he got injured. 2, because he's coming back from injury, he's signing a 1-year deal, Aaron. So even if there was drama, even if he was a headache, he, again, just like he was with the Rams, after everything went down, he's not going to be a headache for the Chiefs. He's going to be a headache for whoever he signs a long-term contract, if he gets one, a long-term contract with after this season. This season is going to be a 1-year deal, and it's going to hopefully get him his last big deal. And so he's going to be on his best behavior. So I
I,
wouldn't worry about it.
I don't even think that's the problem. I think he gets a lot of flack because in New York he was the star. Then in Cleveland he had to be the star. But when he went to LA, he was surrounded by stars. He wasn't even top 5 people that they wanted to talk to because you had Aaron Donald, Stafford, um,
Cup.
what's the
Was that a
quarterback?
good comment about Stafford?
Shut up. Jalen Ramsey, Cooper Cup, and then maybe OBJ. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And then if he comes to Kansas City, what bigger star is there than Patrick Mahomes? Followed by the greatest tight end of all time. I mean, they're not going to be rushing to talk to him either outside the first week or so. It's going to be about Pat.
Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for watching this video from the team at RGR Football. Click these videos to see more and subscribe to RGR Football.